Meta is a touchy subject. Balancing game mechanics isn't easy. It's a necessary evil that keeps games fresh. The meta is in an alright state right now, so I figured, let's take a trip down memory lane and review the metas of the past. Keep in mind, this is just my opinion, so if you like a certain meta that I didn't, that's fine. That's your opinion. This is the rating system that I'll be using. With that out of the way, let's begin. Yes, the one that started it all. Was it as balanced as the OGs claim? It's hard to say because it's been so long and there were only a few guns back then. The Type 25 and the AK-117 were alright from what I can remember. The S-36 was annoying though. 3 out of 5 stars. With both the Type 25 and the AK-117 nerfed, the S-36 was everywhere. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't play these seasons, so I won't say much else. The HBRA-3, it was pay to win, locked behind a paywall. A free version wouldn't be released to the public until a few seasons later. By then, it was nerfed, overrated, and never again relevant. 2 out of 5 stars. This might piss some people off. I know a lot of people love this season, and yeah, the theme song was cool, but I wasn't a big fan of the meta. The Cordite was the only gun that you could reliably hipfire with, and just like the HBRA-3, it was also locked behind a paywall. As for the Pharo, it was originally a paid burst version of the MSMC, but when it was released for the public, all hell let loose. Oh, and gravity spikes and Shot ARs were annoying at this time. 2 out of 5 stars. Aside from the Cordite hipfire, this meta was pretty good. You could pretty much use whatever you wanted. Fan favorites like the DRH and the QQ9 were released as strong but balanced weapons. And you know what? Gunsmith was around the corner. 4 out of 5 stars. At last, no more paywalls. The highly anticipated Gunsmith update was game-changing, and with it came a shift in the meta. But the thing was, nobody really understood everything. BSA, or Bloom as it's known in other games, was a controversial addition. One of the reasons why the HD-40 rose to prominence was the fact that it had a strong base accuracy. That, and it could force shots to the legs up to 30 meters. Now, make no mistake, it wasn't as terrible as other metas, or great as other metas, but it was a time of mystery, just like Season 1, 3 out of 5 stars. With the HD-40 nerfed, a power struggle opened up between the 3 Shot ARs, DRH, ASM-10, and Meta War. In the months to come, nerfs and buffs between them would decide which would temporarily come out on top. And it's not until the SMG meta did they finally wane in relevance. Shotguns were also really good, until Season 11, but that never stopped Garena players though. The Fennec and large caliber for the HVK was also released in Season 11, but it wasn't until the next season did we fully realize the ramifications. 2 out of 5 stars. Truly a dark age. The HVK with large caliber could insta-kill from across the map. The Fennec with the newly released Akimbo could insta-kill entire squads up close. Oh man. Thankfully this only lasted 1 season. 0 stars. With the HVK rebalanced and Akimbo nerf, things reverted back to its 3-shot AR phase. But a new threat loomed beyond the horizons. If not for Akimbo Fennec and a HVK large caliber, blank scoping would have been exploited sooner. The ability to one-tap from anywhere on the map, while mega stacking ADS speed with no drawbacks? This was a polarizing time. The Arctic 50 could one-tap to the toes, and was semi-auto. The NA-45 still haunts people to this day, even if it's not good anymore. Akimbo on Deagles was weird. Sometimes you could one-tap from 15 meters away, and other times you spend a mag and a half trying to put somebody down. 1 out of 5 stars. With snipers nerfed, you figured things would go back to the 3-shot ARs again, and for a time, this was true. And then, the meta shifted towards SMGs. The QQ9 was buffed, the Bizon was released, strafing was finally viable, and you know, the idea of a faster-paced, aggressive meta sounds enticing, but what they'll do to the QXR next was unwarranted. 2 out of 5 stars. I love this gun, but they didn't have to buff the fire rate. Before, it was a low recoil, mid-range beam that could compete with ARs, and it was overbuffed. 2 out of 5 stars. Season 5 2021, 4 out of 5 stars. Sure, the Holger had some abnormal mobility for an LMG, but other than that, a semblance of balance was achieved for about 2 weeks. Halfway through the season, the Fennec was overbuffed. I love this gun, but they didn't have to buff the range. 2 stars. Oh, and the MX9 was also released around this time. Speaking of which, with the Fennec nerf, the MX9 took its place, and well, this went on for way too long. Imagine like a prime QQ9 from a couple seasons prior that could 3-shot. 1 star. And what do you know? The meta comes full circle. The top 25, back on top, baby. At first I wasn't sure about the fire rate buff, but adjusting the body multipliers? Perfect. 4 out of 5. As we enter into Season 11, season without any major nerfs, I just hope that we don't get any more crazy metas in the future. But a man can only hope. My name is On, and I'm off.